If you've ever searched best workout split, you've probably seen 10 different answers and gotten more confused, not less. I got you. So here's the actual answer for beginners. Specifically, not the split a 5-year veteran runs, the one that actually works when you're just starting out. By the end of this, you'll have a full week laid out, exercise by exercise. Let's go. First, the promise, so you know exactly where this is going. The best beginner split is not the one you see most often online. Most fitness content shows a 5 or 6 day bro split, one muscle group per day. Chest Monday, back Tuesday, legs Wednesday, and so on. That's the split experienced lifters run, usually after years of training, often with performance-enhancing help most people don't talk about on camera. For a natural beginner, that split is actually one of the least efficient options available, and almost nobody explains why. Here's the mechanism. Muscle growth responds to how often you train a muscle group, not just how hard you train it once a week. Hit your chest once a week with a bro split, and you get one growth stimulus. Then 6 days of that stimulus slowly fading before the next one arrives. Hit your chest twice or 3 times a week instead, and you're compounding stimulus on top of stimulus before it fully fades. Frequency beats a single brutal session, especially for beginners who haven't built the work capacity for that one session to be maximally effective anyway. So here's the actual recommendation. A full body or upper-lower split, 3 to 4 days a week. Every session hits your whole body with a handful of compound lifts. Upper-lower means you alternate between upper body days and lower body days. Both let you hit every major muscle group 2 to 3 times a week instead of once, and both are dramatically easier to recover from and stick to as a beginner than a 5-day specialized split. Let's loop back to that promise for a second. I told you you'd walk away with an actual week laid out. Here it is, a 3-day full-body split, which is the simplest and most sustainable starting point for almost everyone. Day 1, squat, bench press, and a row. 3 to 4 sets each in the 8 to 12 rep range. That's your entire session, not 12 exercises, 3. Day 2, deadlift, overhead press, and a pull-up or lat pull-down. Same set and rep scheme. Notice this covers a completely different movement pattern than day 1. Hip hinge instead of squat, vertical press instead of horizontal, vertical pull instead of horizontal row. Day 3, back to squat, but this time paired with incline bench press and a different row variation. Same sets and reps. You're not doing the exact same workout 3 times. You're rotating through the same handful of movement patterns, so every major muscle group gets hit across the week without any single session running an hour and a half. Rest a day between each session where you can. A Monday, Wednesday, Friday pattern works well for most schedules, with the weekend and one weekday completely open. Now let's go deeper, because knowing the split isn't the same as running it correctly. Mistake people make almost immediately. Jumping to a 5 or 6 day bro split within a few months because that's what they see online, or because 3 days a week starts to feel not serious enough. It's not a seriousness problem. A beginner on a well-run 3-day full-body split will out-progress the same beginner on a 6-day bro split almost every time, because the full-body approach matches their actual recovery capacity and their actual need for repeated practice on each lift. You don't need more volume yet. You need more repetitions of doing the same core lifts well. Here's why that repetition matters more than people realize. When you're new to a lift, most of your early progress isn't even coming from bigger muscles yet. It's coming from your nervous system getting better at performing the movement itself, recruiting the right muscles in the right order, more efficiently, rep after rep. That's why beginners can add weight to the bar almost every single session for months, something an experienced lifter simply can't do anymore. A full-body split, hitting the same core lifts 3 times a week, gives your nervous system 3 times the practice reps compared to hitting each lift once a week on a bro split. You're not just building muscle faster this way, you're building the skill of the lift itself faster, and that skill is what everything after it gets built on top of. Second common mistake, changing the split every few weeks because progress feels slow. Strength and muscle gains from a new program usually take 4 to 6 weeks to become obvious, and switching before that window closes means you're always starting the adaptation process over instead of letting it compound. Pick this 3-day split, run it for at least 8 weeks, and only then evaluate whether it's actually working. Third mistake, and this one sneaks up on people once they get more confident, adding extra exercises to each session because 3 lifts starts to feel too simple. 6 weeks in, people start bolting on curls, lateral raises, extra ab work, until a 50-minute session turns into 90. More exercises isn't more results if it means you're too fatigued to add weight on the 3 lifts that actually matter most. Keep the session built around those 3 main lifts. If you have energy left over and genuinely want to add 1 or 2 small accessory movements at the end, that's fine. but they come after the main lifts, not instead of focus on them. Now here's something that might genuinely surprise you about how long you should expect to stay on a beginner split like this. Most people assume they'll need to move to something more advanced within a couple of months. In reality, research and coaching consensus both suggest true beginners can keep making meaningful progress on a simple full-body split for 6 months to a year, sometimes longer, before more specialized splits actually start outperforming it. This period even has a name in strength training. Some coaches call it the novice linear progression phase, where you can often add weight to the bar practically every session without needing anything more complicated than that. The split isn't the bottleneck early on. Consistent execution of the basics is. Which means most people switching splits every month aren't held back by their program. They're held back by never letting any program run long enough to work. So how do you actually know when it's time to move on from this? The clearest sign is when adding weight every session stops working. You try to add 5 pounds to your squat, and you can't complete your reps 2 or 3 sessions in a row, even after resting properly. That's not failure, that's just the end of the easiest phase of progress, and it usually means it's time to slow the pace of adding weight, not necessarily time to switch the whole split. So here's the actual fix, all of it together. 3 full-body sessions a week, 3 main lifts per session, 8 to 12 reps, 3 to 4 sets, rotating through squat, hinge, horizontal press, vertical press, horizontal pull, and vertical pull across the week. Run it for at least 8 weeks before changing anything. Add weight or a rep whenever you can, same as every other video on this channel. That's genuinely the whole system, not because it's incomplete, but because a beginner's actual bottleneck is almost never program complexity. If this helped, hit like and subscribe. I break down stuff like this every week, no fluff as usual. Drop your current split in the comments and I'll tell you if it's actually working for where you're at. Catch you next time.